सर्वशक्तिमान, तू ही है मेरे जीवन का संगी, तू ही महान सर्वशक्तिमान, तू ही है मेरे जीवन का संगी। हृदय के तार छेड़े झनकार, हृदय के तार छेड़े झनकार, तेरी आराधना है मधुर गीत, जीवन से मेरे तू महिमा पाए। एक ही कामना करूं, पाप क्षमा कर जीवन दे दे, दया की याचना करूं, तेरी आराधना करूं, तेरी आराधना करूं, पाप क्षमा कर जीवन दे दे, दया की याचना करूं, तेरी आराधना करूं। सृष्टि की हर एक कण कण में छाया है तेरी ही महिमा का राज, सृष्टि के हर एक कण कण में छाया है तेरी ही महिमा का राज। पक्षी भी करते हैं तेरी प्रशंसा, पक्षी भी करते हैं तेरी प्रशंसा, हर पल सुनाते हैं आनंद का राग। मेरी भी भक्ति तुझे ग्रहण हो, हृदय से प्रार्थना करूं, पाप क्षमा कर जीवन दे दे, दया की याचना करूं, तेरी आराधना करूं, तेरी आराधना करूं, पाप क्षमा कर जीवन दे दे, दया की याचना करूं, तेरी आराधना करूं।
Thank you, choir, for the beautiful invocation. We welcome our chief guest and convocation speaker, Shri Subroto Bagchi, Chairman, Orissa Skill Development Authority, Government of Orissa. We welcome Father Anthony R. Uvri, SJ, Vice Chancellor, Xavier University, Bhubaneswar. And we welcome Father E.A. Augustine, SJ, Registrar, Xavier University, Bhubaneswar. May I now request Professor Andrew Datta, Dean, School of Human Resource Management, to deliver the welcome address.
Honorable Chief Guest and Convocation Speaker, Sri Subroto Bagchi, Chairman, Orissa Skill Development Authority, Government of Orissa. Sir, it is our honor and privilege to have you with us today. It is my honor to introduce you to our university. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Subroto Bagchi is Chairman of Orissa Skill Development Authority. His present charter is to create employable skills for 1.5 million youth by 2024, mostly school dropouts. This is a full-time assignment in the rank of a cabinet minister. Mr. Bagchi was invited by Shri Naveen Patnaik, Honorable Chief Minister of Orissa in 2016, to set up the Orissa Skill Development Authority to harmonize the various skill initiatives of the government and directly impact the skill development of 1.1 million youth under the Chief Minister's Employment Generation Program, first initiated in 2014. Under his stewardship, the government ITIs have become a vibrant and proud set of institutions. Mr. Bagchi has made Orissa a sandbox for innovation in creating the Nano Unicorn program, under which skilled youth are matched with philanthropic capital to start small businesses instead of becoming job seekers. In addition to leading the skill development initiatives of the government of Orissa, Mr. Bagchi has generously given his time and energy towards entrepreneurship development, attracting industrial investment into the state, leadership development in the government, and innovation in various spheres. In March 2019, he was appointed as the chief spokesperson of Government of Orissa in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. Prior to his work with the Government of Orissa, Mr. Bagchi spent 4 decades with the Indian IT industry, where he is best known as a co-founder of Mindtree. Mr. Bagchi is also a very well-known writer with bestsellers like The High Performance Entrepreneur, Go Kiss the World, The Professional, MBA at 16, The Elephant Catchers, and Sell. His latest book, Sell, received the C.K. Prahlad Award for the Best Business Book of 2018. His books have been translated in all major languages as well as in Chinese and Korean. Mr. Bagchi has been inducted into the Order of Engineers by the University of Florida and honored for his contributions in management and information technology by the Utkal University with an honorary doctorate in literature, and by the Veer Sundar Sai University of Technology with an honorary doctorate in science. Mr. Bagchi has served the boards of IIM Bengaluru, Indian Oil, Triple IT Bhubaneswar, and he currently serves the Board of Governors of the Software Technology Parks of India. He and his writer wife, Susmita, support the cause for prevention of blindness, geriatric care, and mental health and school education, towards which they have pledged their personal resources and time. Sir, we are indeed honored and privileged to have you among us. Respected Father Anthony R. Uveri, SJ, Vice Chancellor, Xavier University, Bhubaneswar. Respected Father E.A. Augustine, SJ, Registrar, Xavier University, Bhubaneswar. All my fellow Dean colleagues, faculty members, staffs, students, parents, invited guests, members of the media, and ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor and privilege to welcome all of you for this occasion of the 4th undergraduate convocation of the Xavier University, Bhubaneswar on this day of April 7, 2021. As a human race, last 1 year and more, we are in the midst of one of the most challenging hurdles of all times. World over, almost every day, a new normal is emerging with the ongoing raging pandemic. But we, as the most intelligent species, are also braving this challenge in the most befitting way. Our university is one of the best examples of collective and unified action to prevail against this global challenge. We as a university have kept on functioning with our classes and examinations conducted online right from the initial days of this pandemic, and we have successfully completed all our programs and academic processes. We also started our new academic year successfully with all endeavors of a pristine university befitting the Jesuit educational tradition. When many institutions were grappling in the dark last year to figure out their survival strategies, Xavier University Bhubaneswar was making a mark to its recruiters, corporate stakeholders, and the student community by leading the path towards success with quality and timeliness. Today, all over India, we have emerged as a role model not only for high quality education and executive learning, but also as a benchmark of high standards of performance. I am very glad to make all of you a part of this high performance community in Xavier University Bhubaneswar. I warmly welcome all of you today to be part of this collectively earned glory and success that is marked by this undergraduate convocation in its fourth successful year. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, sir, for welcoming our chief guest and addressing the virtual gathering. Now, I request the deans of the graduating students to present their reports. First, I call upon Professor P.K. Mohanty, Dean, School of Commerce, to present his report.
Respected Sri Subroto Bagchi, Chairman, Odisha Skill Development Authority, Government of Odisha, Chief Guest and Convocation Speaker of the occasion, respected Professor Dr. Father Anthony R. Uveri, S.J., Vice Chancellor, Xavier University, respected Father E.A. Augustine, S.J., Registrar of the University, deans from different schools, members of the Strategic Academic Advisory Board, members of faculty and staff, recipients of degrees and medals, proud parents of the graduating batch, students, members of the press and media, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a very hearty welcome to you all at the fourth UG convocation of School of Commerce. I feel truly privileged to present this report on the achievements of the school for the academic year 2019-20. In March 2020, just about a month before the convocation, we all were hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic that disrupted our lives in many ways, including education. But as a university, we did not allow this to affect our academic processes. With everybody's cooperation, we immediately switched over to online classes and examinations and completed all the academic processes on time. Ladies and gentlemen, with 2 UG programs, BCom and BBM, and 1 master's program, Master of Business Finance, the school has completed 7 years of its meaningful existence. Quality education being the primary objective, the school strives continuously to improve upon the course curriculum to make it relevant for the industry, keeping in mind the academic rigor and discipline. Our faculty, both in-house as well as visiting, and academic advisors help us design the course curriculum that is current and market-oriented. I'm happy to share with you that this year, the school made significant changes in the course curriculum of both UG and PG programs. Our faculty have published research papers in national and international journals and participated and presented papers in national and international conferences. The school organizes leadership talks, business conclaves, workshops, conferences, symposiums, seminars from time to time in order to provide students an opportunity to interact with and learn from resource persons of eminence from diverse fields. This year, the school has organized 1 business conclave, 15 leadership talks, 2 discussions on union budget, 1 workshop, 1 symposium, and 1 seminar, the details of which are given in the annual report. I'm happy to share with you that the school took the initiative and obtained the accreditation from Institute of Chartered Accountants of India to provide coaching facilities for the foundation course. The school also started coaching facilities for the MBA aspirants with the help of Career Launcher. The school encourages efforts of the students for extracurricular activities too. Our students have participated in sporting and cultural activities here in the university as well as in other schools and colleges and have brought laurels. Today is a special day in the life of the graduating students. This is a day for celebration and planning for the future. I am happy to announce that a total number of 70 students are going to be awarded bachelor's degree in various disciplines, and out of this, 43 students have passed with distinction. I request everyone present here to join me in congratulating them with a big round of applause. I also take this opportunity to congratulate their parents for their trust in the school. To the graduating students, I would say that this convocation ceremony is your final class. You have made us feel proud, not only through your grades, but also through extracurricular activities. You have reached this day through your hard work and dedication. Benjamin Franklin has said, an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. Friends, you are graduating at a time when the world economy is changing at a very fast pace. Our country, which aims at Atmanirbharta, is going to present many opportunities in the coming years. You should have the right skills to grab these opportunities. Therefore, my dear friends, do not stop here. Let this degree be the beginning of your journey. Acquire more skill sets, create more unicorns, and make our nation truly Atmanirbhar. I would like to place on record my deep sense of appreciation for the entire faculty and staff for their dedication, hard work, and cooperation in all academic matters. All faculty, staff, and students are committed to take the school to greater heights in the coming years. I would take this opportunity to sincerely thank our Vice Chancellor, Registrar, and all the members of Academic Council for showing us the right path and direction. Thank you. Thank you very much.
May I now request Professor Sutapa Pati, Dean, School of Sustainability, to present her report.
Honorable dignitaries on the dais, respected colleagues, parents, and my dear students. With great honor, on behalf of School of Sustainability and my faculty colleagues, I present before you the Dean's report. These last few years and months have brought home the urgency of a sustainability orientation for the society before us in a truly direct way. It has also strengthened our faith and resolve in the path of sustainability education that is now showing results with our students at undergraduate and postgraduate level. The students of Bachelors in Sustainable Development, a pioneering initiative started in 2016, has found much appeal among students and higher education institutions. The alumni of the first two batches of 20 students showed the way, gaining absorption in some of the world's renowned higher education institutions, both nationally and at international stage. These include our students who have joined internationally renowned universities of New South Wales, Australia, KU Leuven, University of Brussels, Belgium, and with two students braving the pandemic have recently joined University of Bologna, Italy. I'm happy to inform that students have also built sound career in nationally reputed institutions like IIM Shillong and Xavier University's management program. And recently, one of our students has been selected for MHRD scholarship of integrated PhD from IIT Gandhinagar. Some of the students also have taken up innovative projects within the university and with esteemed partner organizations in the external phase, such as live project with the Viva community of Badgar cluster and as being part of Midwinter Wetlands Bird Survey 2021 with Government of Odisha. The feedback from students and partners and parents across each subsequent batch has been overwhelmingly positive and full of substance and critical inputs. It has been with their encouragement, their positive engagement and their support that the undergraduate program is one of the best in terms of depth, expanse and enrichment of perspectives that have been at the heart of our students' well-deserved progress across issues and impacts. Students have accepted and won accolades in multiple national and international forums, presented papers, received scholarships, and done us proud in many diverse ways. Some instances that I feel happy to share with you include the Best Paper Award from Marine Scientist and Oceanography Department, appreciation for participating in Global Youth of Climate Dialogue, shortlisted for the UN Fellowship first round. Students have also received Certificate of Excellence from esteemed social organizations working on diverse issues such as Child Rights and You, ActionAid and CYSD. I would also like to mention that recently we got a mail from our graduating student that she received the Business Plan Innovation Award as a young social innovator in Brussels, Belgium. Students have engaged with local communities through our EcoSpace Club, pioneered by the undergraduate students in a way that added so many different dimensions to their learning that would have been impossible otherwise. This has been, therefore, a journey in which we, our students, received the undying support and encouragement of so many others, including each parent, each of our esteemed partner organizations, advisors, mentors, our state government, and Xavier community and administration. Finally, it is also with great pride and happiness that I would like to take this opportunity to announce from this dais a partnership with one of our most engaged and long-term supporters, our colleagues from the Wipro Foundation. The Wipro Foundation has been for years implementing its Wipro Earthian project, promoting sustainability education through various forums across schools and colleges in the country. We are very happy to announce that Wipro has agreed this year to initiate a partnership where we are recognizing our incoming undergraduate students as Wipro Stewards of Sustainability. Under this partnership, the undergraduate students will be closely mentored with assistance from Wipro Foundation and their partner organizations. I wish the graduating students of BSc Honors in Sustainable Development and all students graduating this year a future that is bright and impactful. May they spread the light of knowledge and sustainability practice in the spirit of Magis. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Professor V. Vijay Kumar, Dean Acting, School of Communications, to present his report.
Good morning, one and all. It gives immense pleasure to present the annual report of the academic year 2019-20 of the School of Communications to you all. The academic year 2019-20 kick-started with Zilla, the inauguration and orientation program for new entrant of the school. The chief guest for the event was Sri Jyoti Prakash Panigrigi, Honorable Minister of Tourism, Odia Language, Literature and Culture, Government of Odisha, and Dr. Lopamutra Tirupati, Communication for Development Specialist at UNICEF. In the month of August, the School of Communication organized its second edition of Symposium on the theme Digital Innovations, Opportunities and Challenges. The event featured industrial stalwarts from fields like event management, public relations, advertising, journalism, and filmmaking. Mr. Siddhartha Roy, Head of Strategy Planning at 82.5 Communications of the Ogilvy Group, was invited as keynote speaker. The plenary sessions were having Ms. Sharmishta Goswami, Group Manager, Brand Communications of Madison PR, Ms. Rima Ghoshal, Senior Manager, Production and Programming of Teamwork Arts Private Limited, Ms. Vasudha Sinha, Senior Producer at Editor G, Ms. Poonam Agarwal, Associate Editor, Investigations of the Quint, Ms. Amrita Dey, Associate Creative Director of The Glitch, and Mr. Raju, an independent filmmaker. In the month of November, the School of Communication hosted Concordia Media Festival 2019 at the new campus. The fest consists of photography, drawing, poetry writing, caption writing, and quiz competition. The aim of conducting Media Fest was to bring together the +2 level students of Eastern region of India to promote talent and creativity. In the month of February, the School of Communication hosted a conclave titled Reputation Today. The conclave focused on public relation and it was spearheaded by Mr. Amit Prabhu, founder of Promise Foundation and advisor to Reputation Today, a magazine for public relation and corporate communication professionals. Stalwarts from the field of public relation and corporate communications were invited as session speakers. That includes Ms. Madhavi Jha, Head of Communications at Kairan Oil and Gas, Mr. Atul Sharma, Managing Director at Public Relations firm Rutherford India, Ms. Minol Ajakar, Head of Communications, CSR and Business Operations at Purvan Kara, and Mr. Mithu Sharma, founder of Eminence Consultancy firm, were invited. On the academic year 2019-20, the students were given an opportunity to visit various media organizations to learn from the real working environment. That includes Sarthak FM, Sarthak Music, Sarthak TV, Radio Chocolate, Kanak News, Sambath Newspaper, Prelude and Event Management and PR Digital Ad Agency, Nalco PR, which is located in Bhubaneswar. Further, an exclusive outbound learning tour was conducted to take the students to Mumbai media houses. Mirror Now Studios, Andheri Film City Studios, Redefine, a US-based animation studio, were part of the learning tour. The outbound learning tour proved to be a productive one as the students were able to bridge the gap between classroom learning and practical applications. It is my privilege to inform that the School of Communications conducted 7 industrial talks and guest lectures in the academic year 2019 and 20. A workshop on professional lighting and cinematography was conducted in association with Lexa Lighting Technologies, and an immersion course on social norms and media led by Professor S. Pippin as part of UNICEF project was also conducted. In the academic year 2019-20, the MA Mass Communication syllabus was revised and 3 specializations were introduced, such as advertising and marketing communication, public relation and corporate communication, and finally journalism, that includes print and electronic. Our students interned and started working for major media brands like Mirror Now, NDTV 24/7, Zoom TV, NDTV Convergence, the Indu, MSL, JWT, Real Events, Stylus Events, Perfect Pictures, Brand Mela, RK Swamy BBDO, Viscrafts, Green Room, Digital Phoenix, Roadshow Films, Black Box Films, and many more. As usual, the students brought in laurel to the school by winning many awards at international, national, and regional level. To mention a few, Nikita Balyar Singh won Innovative Enterprise of the Year 2019 award from CIIY Innovex. Banvi Sharma won Best Photographer in Odisha 2009, organized by AVWPA Fest, Balasore, Odisha. A group of young filmmakers won first and second place in Chitra Vishitra documentary film contest. Dr. Anamika and Dr. Jyoti Ranjan Sahu joined as faculty members of the School of Communications, along with the production and technical assistant and the program assistant in the academic year 2019 and 20. I would like to conclude the report by saying that the academic year 2019 and 20 was a fruitful year in terms of academics, co-curricular activities, and constructive growth. The school always stood apart from the contemporaries by producing next generation media professionals, those who are ethically sensitive, and to become future leaders with vision, creativity, and imagination. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. I now request Professor Golak C. Nath, Dean, School of Economics, to present his report.
Good morning to all of you. Honorable Chief Guest, Bakchi, Chairman, Odisha Skill Development Authority, Government of Odisha, respected Father Dr. Anthony Bari, SJ, Vice Chancellor, and respected Father Augustine, SJ, Registrar, and my colleagues, students, media representatives, and parents, and all others who are attending this August convocation. It gives me immense pleasure in presenting the annual report of the School of Economics for 1920. The year is a milestone for the school as it has enabled the first batch of students to obtain their graduation with BSc Honours degree. We congratulate all the students who took the initiative of joining this new school of the university. The school has taken up many innovative activities during this pandemic in order to ensure updated knowledge sharing with students along with the usual course curriculum. The new batch of students joined the university through online connects, and the current year we have welcomed 58 students with 22 male and 36 female students. During the year, there are many academic as well as extra and co-curricular activities undertaken by our students. Beating the pandemic, the students participated in international internship where 3 meritorious students have been selected for summer internship at the London School of Economics. 2 students of the batch participated in the Asia Investment and Banking Conference conducted at Hong Kong in 2019. Again organized by the London School of Economics. Our students have been recognized for their hard work and merit. The school organized and hosted 23rd Biennial Conference of Association of Indian Economic and Financial Studies in July 2019. The event was a huge success with large participation. During this particular pandemic time, we have conducted 9 webinars on various areas of economics, inviting very renowned resource persons who are prominent academicians representing globally acclaimed institutions. Our faculties have published many research papers and participated in conferences, seminars, workshops, symposiums to enrich their knowledge. Student activities like EconoSpeak were conducted to engage the students of the school to showcase their skills as budding economists. Many students actively participated in XBITS, another student organized events, and 12 students of the batch of 2017-20 have successfully completed their BSc degree, and we congratulate all of them. We feel proud for all our students. We wish them very best in life. I also take this opportunity to thank all our stakeholders for their continuous support and cooperation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we all have been waiting has come to listen to our chief guest and convocation speaker, Shri Subroto Bagchi, Chairman, Odisha Skill Development Authority, Government of Odisha. May I request you, sir, to deliver the convocation address.
Father Anthony Uvari, Father Augustine, respected teachers, staff members, and most importantly, all the graduating students. My congratulations to all of you for a job well done, particularly in a time of great uncertainty and difficulty for everybody in the world. Since COVID-19 continues to be a dominant popular discourse, I'm going to draw a set of lessons, life lessons, that the pandemic has taught me at a personal level about life and about living. Friends, I think the central message of the pandemic is this: we must always be prepared to deal with the black swan moment. Amongst trumpet swans, a black swan is a rarity, it's an exception. Economists use that metaphor to describe exceptional discontinuity, which is caused by a sudden, unanticipated event. For most of us, for nearly a century, life has had a stable flow with the occasional upheaval. One comforting aspect of these occasional upheavals was that they were usually geographically contained. The other comforting aspect of most such events was that they had a limited and a predictable lifespan. You could tell pretty much by when we would be done with it with some level of confidence. COVID-19 changed all that. But what if the so-called black swan is not an exception? What if it is always around? What if the black swan does not disappear as soon as it has shown up? And what if along the path of its disappearance, you find the arrival route of its twin? In the aftermath of 9/11, which was one of the greatest tragedies of our times, I read a very powerful message somewhere, and it said, we live in times when there is a high probability that a low probability thing will happen. COVID-19 is the brand ambassador of that statement. The low probability of a pandemic is not just about its lethality or its global spread, it is about the indeterminate span of time the crisis is going to be around with all of us. As humans, we are designed to deal with moments of crisis. We are. But we are not designed for prolonged periods of crisis. In prolonged periods of crisis, the human body does not take complete charge. It falters. Hence, the mind must take complete charge. Today, friends, particularly the graduating students, I want to discuss a few mind things with you. In times like this, first and foremost, we must learn not to take anything for granted. Let me give you a personal example. For my entire life, I had believed that if I had the money and the fitness of my body, I could travel to anywhere in the world, almost anywhere in the world. Whenever I wished, Whenever I wished, I could go. If I have the money, I will travel. Or for that matter, if I have the money, I can do anything. I'd always thought that money can get you to the movie, money can get you to the mall, money can get you to the gym, money can take you to the restaurant of your choice. During the last year and a half, we have all realized that money is not the only currency in life. There are many things beyond money that will determine our everyday freedom, and we usually, unfortunately, take them for granted. The difficulty in taking things for granted is this: when you no longer have them, you experience total helplessness. Talking about taking things for granted, my mind goes back to the initial days of the lockdown. As some of you may know, I was the chief spokesperson of the government at that time, and my prime responsibility was to address the citizens of the state through television channels every day. In preparation for this, I had to go in and out of the house half a dozen times every day. It was a very hot summer, and thanks to the lockdown, there was hardly any soul in sight. While driving through the empty roads, every day I would spot a barely clad man struggling to pull his cycle trolley laden with vegetables that he was hauling from the wholesale markets to wherever his locality was. While people stayed homebound for months, this man was slogging every day in the scorching sun of summer to pick up the food that would come to the table of people who would eat it in the comfort of their own homes. Then I would see the sanitation workers of Bhubaneswar Municipal Corporation. They were out there braving the virus, sifting through the city's garbage, because garbage knows no lockdown. Wherever there are people, they generate garbage. People can stay home, but not with their garbage. Someone must then clear it for them, keep it moving. The sanitation workers had to be there, virus or no virus. Then one day, I was returning from a briefing while the sun outside my air-conditioned car was merciless. Ahead of me, I saw a gas delivery man from Indian Oil who was dropping off gas cylinders in people's homes. What happens to him if he gets infected by them? But another question that is worth thinking is what happens to them if he does not show up with the gas cylinder? I stopped the car, I got out, walked over to the man, and I thanked him for his work. He looked at me and said, "But sir, I'm just doing my duty." And it was not just the trolley man, the sanitation worker, the gas delivery person, the vegetable loader in the village, the truck driver who brought the vegetable to Bhubaneswar, the ambulance crew, the nurses, doctors, paramedics, the call center personnel, the police, the folks at municipality. They were all out there while we were in the safety of our homes and probably discontented with the petty inconveniences that you and I were facing. These are the folks who put water in the tap. These are the folks who make breakfast appear on the table. These are the folks who run the commuter systems and keep the city's hundreds of other amenities working for us to lead our quote-unquote normal lives of work, our recreation, education, health, and everything else. But they remain invisible to us. We must feel deeply grateful to these people who help us to survive, who helped us to survive the pandemic. And over and above, they are making sure that we are buoyed up in the normal times. Now, let me shift and talk to you about entitlement. One opposite thing of being grateful is taking things for granted. Sometimes we take things for granted to such a degree that we believe the world owes us those things. That is entitlement. Let me caution you that the nature of entitlement and what it does to us can be very disconcerting. During the pandemic, one day, a certain individual who had just retired from a very senior position in the government called me. He was extremely angry and frustrated because he was not getting special treatment in a COVID-19 facility where his elderly father in his 80s had been admitted. In normal times, he could be in and out of the place. He could get hourly updates from the hospital. He could ask the hospital for anything he wanted. He could pull rank. But now, all he knew was that his father was in there, along with hundreds of others. The hospital, running tight on staff, resources, and supplies, had to deal with each patient's needs based on a system of triage. The doctors and nurses were risking their own lives day in and day out, working in sweltering heat of uncomfortable personal protection equipment that they had never done before. They were working 18 hours a day, not able to go home because they were in quarantine. And in the middle of all that, here was the gentleman who was wanting special attention for his father. It was not happening. It was not possible. He ranted and fumed and told me he would take the system to task. He said he would sue everyone. He said, I will talk to the media. I sympathized with his sense of helplessness, but not his anger. I reasoned with him as much as I could. Unfortunately, next day, his father died. The man was disconsolate. He was devastated. Then another reality hit him very hard because his father had died COVID-19 positive. He could not get the body back. The system would now take the body, wrapped and chemically contained, to the crematorium, where relatives in small numbers were allowed to come, but they had to stay at a distance and pay their last respects. Now, the devastated gentleman had one request for me. Could I possibly speak to someone, use my influence, to have the hearse stop at his house on the way to the crematorium just for a few minutes? Of course, I couldn't do it. It was unsafe and unreasonable. He was asking the system to make an exception for him for something that would violate published public health protocol in the middle of a raging pandemic. This man was so caught up in his grief and in his belief of what the world owed him that he was not considering how his demands would put everybody around him at risk. In times of great crisis, we experience entitlement breakdown. When entitlements are lost, it creates massive internal collapse. Let me now talk to you about living with the idea of less. Acknowledging our privileges and practicing gratitude for what we have helps us to live with less in times of distress. The pandemic was a huge lesson for us on the idea of less. We ate less, we traveled less, we dressed up far less, we spent less, we did less of everything, more than ever before. The hairdresser was closed, so we grew our hair long or cut it all by ourselves. The restaurants were closed, so we ordered takeout or we cooked at home. We could not travel, so we stayed at home for weeks and months at a time. In the end, we are all quite fine where we stand today. Less need not always be painful, restricting. It can be liberating if we get the mindset right. Every culture teaches us that you're born with nothing and you take nothing with you when you die. But we have grown to seek comfort in more. We have learned that there is great joy in acquisition. Humankind has never had it so good in its entire history. The affordability of anyone who is middle class or above has shot up so much in the last 3 decades. We have more than what we need. And our wants are running ahead of our needs. Consumption has driven the idea of happiness. We speak about responsible consumer behavior, about the connection between what we wear and what we eat, and what we do to the problem of global warming and carbon footprint. At the core, however, is the need to exercise personal restraint. There is always more to give up than we think it is ever possible. COVID-19 will eventually go away. We'll survive it. But unless we take personal responsibility to exercise restraint in the way we consume Earth resources, we will not survive the rising ocean levels, not the depleting ozone layer, not the unusual shift of seasons or collapse of the beehives. Making do with less during the lockdown has been made possible because of 2 things. First, that we were flexible to adapt, and second, that we embraced new ways to live, learn, and work. If you and I were living in dispersed, unconnected villages, we would not feel the tremor when the earth shifts a continent afar. But we live in a borderless, porous world today where people and goods and services move effortlessly. We are no longer insular. Take the certainty of uncertainty in life as a given. Your ability to survive will depend on your ability to be adaptable, and keep in mind the fact that uncertainty anywhere in a porous world is uncertainty everywhere. The pandemic has made us look at technology in a whole new perspective. It brought the classroom home, and even in a bigger way, it has brought work home. Until recently, the concept that you could work from anywhere was a fringe idea. That has permanently changed. This will hugely impact many things like urban sprawl and the nature of commute. But it will also ask us to learn afresh the idea of collaboration and the importance of assuming personal responsibility for what we are to deliver when we work in a virtually connected and a contactless world. More virtual we become, more self-regulated, more self-observant, and more responsible all of us will have to be. Now let's talk about love, talk about true love. When the pandemic hit us, the infection rate, the number of hospitalization, and the death count started their infernal exponential growth. The graphs mimicked the strike posture of a cobra. All of us were told to shut our doors and stay home. We were not used to it, yet we learned to live. When our former lives' many activities were stripped away for such a long time, it helped most people to contemplate a very fundamental question, and that question is, what is truly important to me? Many friends or few good friends? Hanging out or hanging in? Eat all you can in a restaurant as if there is no tomorrow, or make your own salad? Listening to music with my headphone always on, or playing a song for the octogenarian grandmother at home? Rushing out through the door every morning with a mindlessly packed brown bag, or sitting around the table and taking a little time to discuss the taste of food with everybody else around the table? Many people I know use the pandemic's clampdown as a time for uncluttering their minds, in which every need, every desire, every want used to clamor, feed me, feed me, feed me. In the silence of the mind, imposed by the restraint on our mobility, people began to ask, what is truly important to me? Which joys are truly joyful? Which priority is a true priority? What is noise? What is signal? What love is my true love? Even as we move on and reclaim some of the lost ground, we must not lose that ability to unclutter, the ability to have clarity on what is the true north of my life. That clarity emerges only when we underscore the fact that life is a limited journey. It can end. It can end abruptly. I do not have unlimited time and ability to honor the truly important things in my life. I must single them out. I must hold them higher than the mass of thoughts, hold them higher than the mass of emotions, desires, and distractions that have so far drowned them so mercilessly. Love does not like to be crowded. It wants to be held high. It wants to be honored. It wants to be felt. It wants to be nurtured. It wants to come closer still and stay that way. In a world that is so fleeting, so fragile, so temporal, we must have urgency about and commitment to things that we truly love, things that truly matter to us. Friends, now let me shift to the idea of perspective when you are in pain. The pandemic has caused each one of us some pain. The degree may differ, but everyone has experienced pain. No one I know had an easy time. In that context, I want to recall a deeply personal moment of truth I had experienced as a young parent decades ago. It was 1982. Our daughter Neha, just a few months old, had a bout of bronchiolitis, and she had to be rushed to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi. Her tiny body was struggling to breathe. The doctors gave her the right medicines and put her in an oxygen tent. As she finally began to breathe normally again, her tiny lungs no longer in distress, she fell asleep. All I could do then was to sit there and keep watching her tiny body. After a few hours passed, I realized that in this very same room, there was another child who was on dialysis. In my heightened anxiety, I had not even noticed him. There was no one keeping a vigil on him, no family member. Later, I asked the duty nurse about the boy. She told me that he would never recover, and all that the hospital could do is to keep him on dialysis. But what about her parents? I asked the nurse. She replied, well, in the beginning they used to sit here, but then they are daily wage earners, and each day they come and sit is a day without income for them. Now they come only very occasionally. I was stunned at my self-centeredness, my heightened excessive anxiety about my own child. That day I realized our ability to deal with pain is directly proportional to our ability to see pain elsewhere. At every point of personal inconvenience or difficulty that we may have to deal with in life, we need to look at the millions of fellow humans in distress. While we acknowledge our own pain, we must look beyond ourselves and acknowledge each other's pain. My dear friends, as you graduate today, I bless you with all my might. I give you all the love that my heart can hold. I invoke the strength of my prayers to make you feel hope, give hope, and build hope for humanity. I wish you resilience over success. I wish you contentment over satisfaction. I wish you empathy over ambition. And finally, the power to make sense when everything else is seemingly falling apart. Thank you very much. Go kiss the world.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom and encouragement. It was indeed inspiring. I now request the chief guest to present medals for the academic excellence virtually and request Professor S. Pepin, Dean, School of Rural Management, to announce their names.
So, before I perform my duty, I would like to take a second to express my gratitude for touching our hearts, not just our heads, with your eloquent, passionate, and inspiring speech. We are indeed privileged to have you, sir. Thank you. I am happy to announce the names of the meritorious students who are being awarded gold medals for academic excellence in various specializations in their respective schools. I would like to begin with School of Commerce. The Vice Chancellor's Medal for Best Academic Performance BCom in Accounting Specialization goes to Anushka Modi. Please give her a big round of applause. Vice Chancellor's Medal for Best Academic Performance BCom Finance goes to Samikshta Basarkar. Vice Chancellor's Medal for Best Academic Performance, that is BBM Marketing, goes to Saloni Mahapatra. Vice Chancellor's Medal for Best Academic Performance in BBM HR Specialization goes to Sonalika Biswal. Now I come to announce the medal winner in School of Sustainability. Vice Chancellor's Medal for Best Academic Performance goes to Simron Parida. Now I come to School of Communications. Vice Chancellor's Medal for Best Academic Performance goes to Sarmista Padi. Finally, School of Economics. Vice Chancellor's Medal for Best Academic Performance goes to Kavya Patnaik. Dear medal winners, you have displayed your passion for high performance, but I pray that you be a star performer always. Congratulations to you and God bless you.
Thank you, sir. I now request our Vice Chancellor, Father Anthony R. Overy, SJ, to felicitate our chief guest and convocation speaker. Thank you, Father. Thank you, sir. Going forward, I request Father E.A. Augustine, S.J., Registrar, to initiate the proceeding for the award of degrees.
I now request Vice Chancellor Dr. Father Anthony Overy to confer degree on those who are virtually present and others in absentia. All the graduating students, wherever you are, please rise in your respective places.
By the authority vested in me as the Vice Chancellor of the University, I award you the BCom Accounting, BCom Finance, BBM Marketing, BBM HR, BSc Sustainable Development, BSc Mass Communication, and BSc Economics degree, and I charge that by thought, word, and deed, you prove yourselves worthy of the award.
Graduating students, please take your seat. Now I request Honorable Vice Chancellor to award degree certificates virtually to the students and the deans of respective schools to read out the names of the graduating students. First, I call upon Professor P.K. Mohanty, Dean, School of Commerce.
I'm happy to present before you the graduating students of batch 2017-20 who are being convocated virtually. The first 4 students are the medal winners and the rest are according to their roll numbers. Anushka Modi, Samiksha Basarkar, Sonalika Biswal, Saloni Mahapatra, Abhipsa Abhilasha Mohanty, Adarsh Jacob Chetikat, Aditya Yadav, Aman Babbar, Amit Pani, Amir Ranjan Mishra, Anmesh Sahu, Aarti Mishra, Arnit Jamula, Ablok Agarwala, Ayushkant Mishra, Ayush Pani, Vasudha Pansari, Vigyan Mohanty, Vishal Agrawal, Biswajit Khatua, Chandan Kumar Jena, Digala Sai Chandana, Ekalabya Mahapatra, Ipari Pritam, Gopal Agrawala, Haribhats Kimoti, Harsh Agarwal, Kalinga Kishore Sahu, Kaushik Kumar Das, Kesav Kumar Lodha, Kirti Sinha, Ladi Amarnath Batra, Mehek Sharma, Monisha Jain, Nidhi Tiwari, Paras Aneja, Pragya Saha, Prasant Kumar Shaw, Priya Tekriwal, Prithvis Kar, Purbi Monga, Rashi Kapoor, Riya Naik, Riti Ranjana, Ruby Behra, Sanya Faiz Ali, Shaksham Jain, Saloni Arya, Sarthak Suman, Satviki De, Sanjuti Lal, Shibam Agarwal, Shivani Baru, Shreyas Sahu, Srishti Swarup, Shriya Mohapatra, Sham Sundar Sabat, Siddharth Rungta, Soumya Rani Sahu, Saurav Sahani, Subham Agarwal, Suryanshu Panda, Susmita Patra, Tamanna Das, Bansika Sahu, Vedant Khandelwal, Vineet Anmol Eka, Vishakha Hans, Vivek Khandelwal, and P. Sivanand Reddy. Congratulations to all of you. God bless you. Thank you. I now request Professor Sutapa Pati, Dean, School of Sustainability, to present the list of graduating students.
Thank you. It's my privilege to present before you the graduating students of BSc Honours in Sustainable Development, batch 2017-20, who are convocating virtually. The first three students are in order of merit. Simra Parida, Dutikeshwar Ballav Das, Siddhi Mahanti, Anushya Samantray, Vaishali Mishra, Dipanshu Upadhyay, Gaurav Ayush, and Sheetal Samantray. Hearty congratulations to all students. Now I would like to invite Dean, School of Communications, to present the list of graduating students.
It is my privilege to announce the names of BSc Mass Communication graduating class of 2020 in roll number order, those who are receiving their degree through virtual mode. Abhishankar Bhowmik, Aditya Mohapatra, Adrita Kumar, Ananya Banjdev, Ananya Biswal, Ananya Ranjan, Ankur Biplav, Anvesha Pati, Archita Siktar, Arun Kumar Mahanta, Bashukta Basuprava, Katyan Shreyas Atman, Meha Mishra, Meha Mahapatra, Meher Kanikhar, Nikita Mohapatra, Supriya Banerjee, Rashmi Sri Padi, Sharmeshra Padi, Subbalakshmi Roy, Swaraj Mohanty, Swastik Banerjee, Urvashi Dhawan, Ankita Patnayak, Jennifer Savdal Pinto, Abhijit Paul Dan, S.K. Ashraf. Now I am presenting the graduating students of previous batches. Subhanvesha Misra and Aditya John Paul Tirki. Now I request Professor Guloknath, Dean School of Economics, to take the proceedings forward.
I'm happy to present before you the students of BSc Honors Economics who are graduating through this virtual convocation. I present the names in alphabetical order after announcing the name of the batch topper. Kavya Patnaik, Aishwarya Pandey, Amrita Chaudhary, Amruta Misra, Amulya Sanivarak, Ananya Parida, Ankita Chaudhary, Noyanika Chakravarti, Siddharth M. Kausik, Soham Parikshit Misra, Soumyamoyi Sahu, and Urja Patnaik. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you all the deans and congratulations to all the graduating students. Now, I request Father V. Adokya Das S.J., the Chief Finance Officer and Deputy Registrar, as well as Professor Kumar Vikram Bainipati, Associate Dean, Admissions, to conduct the scholarship ceremony.
Respected Chief Guest, Sri Subrata Bagchi, Vice Chancellor Dr. Father Anthony R. Uvari S.J., Registrar Father E. Augustine, Deans, faculty and staff members, graduating students, scholarship recipients, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, one and all. On behalf of the University UG Scholarship Committee, Professor Vikram Bainipati and I are pleased to welcome all the scholarship winners of the graduate programs of Xavier University Bhubaneswar for scholarship award ceremony for the academic year 2020-21. Ladies and gentlemen, Xavier University Bhubaneswar, in keeping with its vision, mission and objectives, is implementing the scholarship scheme for the undergraduate students. This is one of the initiatives of our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Father Anthony R. Uvari S.J., to render financial help to the meritorious as well as deserving students. The scholarships are based on 3 different criteria. First, merit-based scholarship for students who have secured 85% or more in the aggregate in their 12th standard board examination. Second, need-based scholarship for students who belong to SC, ST, economically backward and minority communities. Third, stipend for full-time doctoral scholars. We are pleased to announce that 109 UG students are eligible to receive scholarships and 9 doctoral scholars receive stipend. The university is dispersing around rupees 1.2 crores towards the same in the current academic year. I congratulate all the scholarship winners. Now, it is my pleasure to announce the recipients of the UG scholarship from the School of Commerce. Anandita Swain, Afreen Sultana, Aman Deep, Andanu Santoshi Patro, Arpita Agarwal, Chirag Jain, Hansraj Ocha, Kaushal Kandalwal, Manav Shah, Mukesh Patro, Payal Raghubanshi, Paushali Ghosh, Pratham Agarwal, Rishita Mohanty, Rika Ritambaradas, Ruchi Sahu, Sakshi Mohanty, Shivam Agarwal, Shivanshi Pradhan, Sukanya Bharadwaja, Swadhin Kumar Sahu, Sweta Jamkiar, V. Smiley, Vidisha Agarwal, Vishal Kumar, Yash Agarwal, Akhay Kriti Dang, Satvik Narayan Behra, Mansita Mishra, Ananya Sharma, Anushka Ghosh, Arko Prabho Ghosh, Ayesha Patnaik, Ayushi Bishwal, Devashish Patra, Dev Arya Bahadur Shah, Divya Jyoti Senapati, Dimple Patel, Dipasha Verma, Harshit Chauhan, Rishikesh Bhag, Jeeban Jyoti Pani, Manvi Roy, Paidi Setti Akhilesh, पीयूष प्रियदर्शन पंडा, प्रेरक बंसल, प्रियंका पटनायक, पुनीत जैन, राज अग्रवाल, रितेश कुमार, रोहित कुमार सिंह, यस सरोज, संगीता बेहरा, सुहानी सोरेन, स्वर्णदीपा दास, उपासना मिश्रा, विक्टर ब्लेसेड दत्त. Now I invite Professor Bikaram Kumar Bahinipati, the Associate Dean Admissions, to announce the recipients of UG scholarship from the other schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Father B. Arokyadas SJ, for inviting me. Good afternoon to one and all. With due permission and with immense pleasure and pride, I am presenting before you the recipients of the UG scholarships for academic year 2021 as per the name of the schools. Now I present before you the recipients of the UG scholarship from the School of Communications. Khushi Jhunjhunwala, Lipsa Acharya, Soumya Suranjan Singh, Roslyn Ekka. Now I present before you the recipients of the UG scholarships from the School of Computer Science and Engineering. Gayatri Raut, Isita Jana, Priti Barna Panda, Rohan Srivastav, Sakhyam Kumar Jha, Sanjeevani Kashyap, Shivam Satyam, Shivaprasad Patnaik, Sriyansa Satyadeep Sahu, and Tattwamasi Misra. Now I present before you the recipients of UG scholarships from the School of Economics. Arab Guha, Adrija Paul, Akankhya Bhuiya, Ananya Maharana, Aniket Mathur, Anuja Tripathi, Bhavana Pathi, Bismay Kumar Barik, Debolina Das, Jyotiranjan Tripathi, Kusumita Vardhan Ray, Miran Panigrahi, Dikshita Das, Nisita Chaudhary, उत्तिज्या दत्ता, पंखुरी रास्तोगी, राघव रॉय, रिकत दत्ता, Saranya Roy, and T. Sania. Now I present before you the recipients of UG scholarships from the School of Sustainability. Radhika Naik and God Wilson Piker. Now I present before you the recipients of the UG scholarships from Xavier Law School. Aditi Patnaik, Akshita Gadnaik, Arundhati Mamidala, Inakshi Guha, Indrani Mukherjee, Pragya Adarsi, Ranita Jana, Debamoy Mukherjee, Kiran Kirti Rath, Pawan Kumar, Siddhant Mandal, Soumya Mahanti, Sthita Pragya Mahanta, Uchit Panigrahi, Vedansi Jalan, and Sania Das Patnaik. Congratulations to all the recipients of the UG scholarships during the academic year 2021. We are all proud of you. May God bless you in abundance today and always. Thank you all.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, sir. As we have come to the end of the virtual convocation, may I request our registrar, Father E.A. Augustine S.J., to propose the vote of thanks.
There is the story of Mr. Khushwant Singh. Khushwant Singh, we all know, the older generation especially. I'm not sure about the graduating batch students. Therefore, I briefly tell you who Khushwant Singh is. He's a well-known writer, journalist, columnist, lawyer, diplomat, and also politician. He has authored many books, one of the most famous ones being Train to Pakistan, which was written on the partition of India. He is also the author of many stories, and this story goes like this. Once he was traveling, Khushwant Singh was traveling from Delhi to Singapore, and the passenger on the side seat was a foreign lady, and he was sure this lady has never seen or known who a Sardarji was. But he was not very comfortable to initiate the conversation. But when midway through the flight, snacks were served, he started a conversation with this lady. And she introduced herself as Margarita from Spain. And then she asked Khushwant Singh, "What are you?" And he said, "I am sick." She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you are sick. I hope you get well soon." Then he says, "No. I am not sick of as that of body, I am sick as of religion. She said, wonderful, congratulations. I am also sick of religion, she said. Well, my dear friends, we all have been sick of this pandemic called, COVID-19 for past 1 year and more. But thank God today we have been able to gather here and have this fourth undergraduate convocation to take place. First and foremost, I'd like to express our deep and profound gratitude to our esteemed chief guest and speaker, Sri Subrata Bagchi. Sir, your fame precedes your name, not only in Bhubaneswar and Odisha, but also different parts of the country. Mr. Bagchi has been very long and close association with Xavier University and the XIMB even before. And today we are pleased and privileged to have you in our midst for inspiring our youngsters, sharing your thoughts and beautiful message on life, especially how to handle, how to live with less, but with love and even in pain. I'm sure our students and all of us here really enjoyed and will benefit from your message, which we have learned for our life. We thank you sincerely for your presence and for your wonderful message. Well, this convocation would not have seen the light of day, but for the efforts of our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Father Anthony. He is inspiring leadership, for his attention to all the details to ensure that this online virtual convocation goes without any glitch. Father Anthony, thank you so much for your inspirational leadership and for the guidance for this convocation. I'd like to thank all the deans, the control of examination, the chief finance officer, associate dean for admissions, all the administrative staff, maintenance staff, account staff, all secretarial staff who have worked hard and tirelessly to make this convocation a great success. Special thanks to the IT team as well as the communication school team for their hard work behind the scene for days and having a spotless, glitchless convocation. Also like to thank all the other volunteers, the MC, the singers, the maintenance staff, and all those who have contributed in any and every way for the success of this first ever online UG convocation of our university. I'd like to thank also the press and media and the Illuminatics team for their efforts in giving wide publicity through press, print media, as well as through social media. Last but not the least, I'd like to thank all the graduates and their parents and all our well-wishers who attended this function. Thank you for your presence. God bless you all. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you, Father.
I declare the fourth UG convocation of the Xavier University, Bhubaneswar closed.
Thank you. I request everyone to please rise for the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उत्कल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशिष मांगे गावे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे